Nothing is more fulfilling to me in the game of real estate than buying a house with no money and no credit. I love it. And I love teaching and showing people how to do that. In fact, I've got a lot of my partners that's the game I'm in. I help them do it and then I show them how to do it and get on both sides of the fence. Today, I'm going to be breaking down for you how to buy real estate with no money, no credit. And at the end of the video, a little bonus, I'm actually going to share with you some of the hacks that I utilize that open up the doors for doing unlimited real estate so you can do as much as you want.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
Now, buying a house for $0 is super cool and it's a little tricky. Like, I want to share with you how to do it, but once you learn how to do it, my students, once they catch on, they just keep on doing it. So it's really, really awesome. I personally buy a house just about every single day, and I'm not using any money, any credit. And it's based on the knowledge that I'm about to share with you right now that I think is going to be hopefully life-changing for you. Check it out. In life, a lot of people think real estate comes down to how many resources you have, and it's more a game of how resourceful are you. Because there are 4 dominant resources that will help you crush it in the game of real estate. Imagine for a moment this pie chart, and we've got someone that is saying, hey, I'll put up the money for deals, and another person says, I'll put up credit, and another person says, I'll find the deal, and the last person says, I will manage the property, okay? So once a deal gets found, to buy it, there's money and credit involved, and then someone's got to handle the long-term strategy of it. So if you think about it, these are 4 different pieces. You really only need to possess the ability for one of them, how to put everything all together. And so let me just kind of give you what I hope will be really, really helpful in understanding how to do real estate with no money. Finding the deal. You want to learn how to be the deal maker. Now, you can pay bird dogs to go out there and find deals for you, or you can just use your knowledge and know-how and go out and find these deals. If you don't possess that knowledge and know-how, I've got a training boot camp that teaches people how to basically find really amazing deals. It's very simple, and if you put in a little bit of legwork, the deal manifests. So it's super awesome. So the first thing you want to do is you want to learn how to find a deal. Then what you got to do is you got to find somebody who has the money. Now, does this person need to be you? No, but it might be one of your hidden assets. If you've been putting money in a 401k or IRA or stock market or annuity, then you actually have money for real estate. It's an asset transfer, moving from a low yield to a much more significant yield if you do this the right way. Then you need someone to put up the credit. If your credit's bad, guess what? You can just rent somebody else's credit. I do it all the time, and I got videos on how to do that. Lastly, we need someone that's going to actually manage the deal. If you had to do the least of all 4 of these, you'd want to at least do this one that says, I know how to manage this thing and make money with it, because this is the person that can often sell everyone on Let's Play. This person also often knows how to find the deals. And once it's just a matter of finding money and credit, because you've got the deal and the person that understands the strategy, dude, this is game over. This is easy. I always tell my investors that it comes down to creativity, hustle, and courage. Notice that creativity, hustle, and courage is not money, nor is it credit. Creative and hustle and courage is really about finding the house and selling people on an idea of what you can do with it. Now, if you piggyback on my system, check it out. I've documented 4,000 deals that I've done with my system. And we're talking about a nearly $1 billion. So when people get with me, they inherit that entire track record, and that's what they're piggybacking off of. I didn't have that in the beginning, so I love giving that to my students so that they actually know how to do that. By the way, that book is free. You click the link below, you can get a copy of it. And so understand that if you can just be the one that puts these 4 pieces together, and this is what I see happen on a regular basis. Someone finds out that mom and dad have the money sitting in a 401k or IRA, and they'll become a part of my system where they find the deal. They are also, the person that finds the deal is often also the manager, and dad or mom that have the money often also have the credit. So the way I usually see this cut up is this is one person and this is the other person. This is how it works for me in my personal and private partnerships, is I've got a track record now, and people that have the money say, Kris, If you find the deal and do all the work and I get to be totally hands off, here's the money. You have a track record that I want to invest in. But that's Kris Krohn. That can be you too. You just got to start by doing your first 5 deals. Have a good experience on the first one, let it go to the second, let it get to the 5th, and dude, that's how you crush this game of real estate. I feel like all I had in the beginning was my creativity, my hustle, and courage. That second house that I bought was scary for me because my first house I was living in. So I'm like, if the investment doesn't work out, I need to pay for a place to live anyway, so I'll just pay the mortgage and it'll be like everyone else that has a house. I was trying to make that house an investment and I did so successfully. But when I bought my second house, I'm like, wait a second. This house is 2 towns over, 2 cities over. It's a much bigger house. It's a much nicer house. And I'm not going to live there? No, it's an investment. And I got this house for $150,000 that I later sold for $330,000 and had killer cash flow along the way. Like, oh my gosh, I cash cowed that house like nobody else's business. But I was scared because it wasn't a house for me and it wasn't a house that I was going to live in. In the end, the hustle came in the form of me calling up 10 realtors that looked like from the ads that looked like they represented investment properties. And I said, I'm ready to buy my property. I got 20 grand setting aside and I'm pre-qualified. And the 20 grand was from my first house as an equity loan. And so I said, I got this money, so go find me a house that has good equity. And 8 out of the 10 realtors thought I was nuts, even though they were dealing with investments, because I told them I wanted a 20% equity position. 2 of them said, okay. And 1 of them sent me deals that afternoon and the house had just hit the market. You could do that same strategy, by the way, because every day the deal of the decade comes along so frequently. It's just who's looking at that moment. So this amazing deal came across the doorstep and I immediately recognized that is a freaking low price per square foot. I knew there was equity there. Went over same afternoon, checked out the house, put an offer in, half hour later, and we were done. And they got 3 other offers, but they took our offer. Apparently it was the best. 30 days later when I bought that house, that was the moment of courage. The creativity was in using my first house to pay for it. The hustle was calling the agents to locate it. And the courage was to close on it. And when I leased it out, I had never done a lease option in my life. I was following someone else's example. I put the signs out just the way they said, and boom, it worked. And I'm like, this is incredible. These people give me $3,000 up front. I got a $600 cash flow. This works. And my wife and I got out of debt so fast. So what I'm sharing with you, I hope the big thing that you're getting from this is not what resources do you have, but rather, can you be creative? Can you hustle? And can you act courageously? If you can do all 3 of those, then you are built and bred to be a multimillionaire in the game of real estate. And I hope you do. If you want some guidance and mentorship and knowledge on how to do that, I've got some amazing entry-level programs that give you all the tools and resources you need. All you gotta do is click below, get a copy of my book, talk to a member of my team, and we'll walk you through it.